think I'm live. Hi everyone. I'm streaming live for the first time in the Productive C# page on Facebook. I have no idea how this is going to go, but I really care about showing up live in this period of time, and I want to see how many developers out there are still up at 9 p.m. UK time to listen to me and talking about how to be a more effective engineer. I hope you're going to join me live. This is my space where I usually record my videos for Productive C# and .NET. And this is a book that is called The Effective Engineer, the book I want to talk about tonight, that I've completed to read yesterday. Spent the last couple of weeks to read. It's a book written by Edmund Lau. It's a software engineer that works in some of the biggest companies in the world, and is sharing his tips on how to be more effective. And I think it's a very good book. It's been recommended to me by the head of engineer, Hilary Gate, and I want to share with you like some of the top tips that I've learned from the book with you. And I hope you are safe in this crazy time. I'm Italian, so at the moment Italy is not having a very good time. We are safe, my family is safe. We've been self-isolating for the past 10 days here in the UK, in Cambridge, and I always wanted to start, doing more live streams and connect with you more closely. And I think this is the best time to really start doing this, especially now that we are forced to stay at home and try not to spread this across the globe. So let's start, all right? So I should be able to see how many of you are here. So, and let's see how it goes. All right, so how to be a more effective engineer. So why do you want to do that? The reason is because you probably want to be more effective when you actually work, and this also means that you might be able to work even less hours and have the same productivity as you usually do. Maybe because you want to stay closer to your family, especially now in this period of time when it's even more difficult to be, to work, but also because you want to improve yourself and become a better engineer and have a more a good career, right, as an engineer. So the book really talk about having the right mindset. This is really the first things that is doing. Is introducing the term called leverage. How to increase your leverage. And leverage is the impact you produce divided by the time. So if you can, do some piece of work in a shorter amount of time, you are more effective because you can do the same amount of work in less time. Also, if you can do more work in the same time, it's also, you're also going to be more effective, right? If you can write the same piece of code that another developer do in an hour, you can write in half an hour, you're definitely more effective. So leverage is the impact you produce divided by the time invested. And notice that the book is not mentioning the outcome you produce. It's mentioning the impact you are having. You could spend like a week building a feature and then nobody used that feature in the product, and that's considered zero, in terms of impact, right? So it's very important to pick the activities that are actually having an impact. So that's the key thing. So all the time you try to do an activity, think about leverage. How can you improve your leverage? And there are actually 3 key questions that you should ask yourself. The first one is, how can I complete this activity in a shorter amount of time? Anything you're doing. Let's say you want to become a more productive C# developer. If you can write more C# more quickly, you probably are more effective. If you can use your IDE better, you can use a shortcut, and that can help you to write code quicker, you're going to also become better. So if you're using your command line, or you're using a Git command, and you learn more about how to use Git, you can also become more effective. The second is how you can increase the value you produce. So it's not just about doing an activity quickly, but it's doing the right activity that produces a bigger a bigger impact. And this is something my manager is currently really helping me to explore, because as you become more senior as an engineer or more principal, you are thinking more about how you can impact the company rather than yourself. So think about how can you increase the value that you produce when you do some particular work. And the third question is, when you're doing something, every so often think about if there is something else that has a higher level that you could actually do. There is nothing stopping you to drop a task you're currently doing to start a new one that has higher leverage, right? And this is very hard to do, right? Because I usually tend to like, go down to a task, be busy and doing things, but sometimes you need to step back and think about, okay, but how can I be sure that what I'm doing is actually the best activity I could do? So these are the three major questions you should ask yourself when you want to be more effective. And then the book actually goes through a lot of important topics about activities that have high leverage. The number one activity is obviously learning. So if you're a software engineer, you probably know that you should stay always up to date. You should keep learning. Technologies always comes and go, and you need to really, really stay up to date. So learning is one of the highest leverage activity. And learning not just yourself, but also training other developers in your company, training people in your team, and doing mentoring. Mentoring is a very high level activity. So let's say you're a more senior and experienced developer, you pair with a less experienced developer and you help him, get up to speed very quickly. So that's definitely a very high leverage activity, and it's one of the things I'm currently doing in my company, is trying to set up a mentoring program to help training developers. But this applies to any role, actually, not just software engineers. So learning is definitely key. So always optimize for learning, because if there is something you could learn today that makes every time you write code, you're saving 5 minutes every day. Think about how much of this adds up over time. It's incredible. So learning is always critical. And honestly, I invest a lot in learning. I love learning, and because now it's close to the fiscal year, end of the fiscal year, I've done a reflection, and I realized I spent about £2,000 in online programs this year to learn not just engineering, but also business and other stuff. So invest on yourself, not just what the company provides you, but invest your own money to learn, and that's absolutely critical. So that's one of the highest leverage activities you can do. As Productive C#, one of the things I do is actually train developers, especially C# developers, how to be more productive. I teach the latest feature of the language, and I provide a membership for developers to do that. And in this particular period of time, I'm offering the membership at a very low price, especially if you're a new member. I offer one full year access, a very ridiculous price, because I really want to help you, develop your C# skills, especially at this difficult time. And I know I have friends that lost their job, and I have some people that I'm helping to actually get back in the market, because companies obviously are reducing a bit hiring. So it's very important for you to spend time and get back up to speed and be able to actually do interviews as soon as the situation gets better. So go to productc#.com/membership if you want to have a look at the offer. I'm not going to say how much it is. Just have a look in the page. It's ridiculous. So I really invite you to join. It's a community of other Productive C# developers. You can ask people questions. You can ask me questions, and it's really cool. And you will get every week news on how to become a better engineer. So the second thing I want to say is, let's have a look. What's the second thing I want to do? Is prioritization. That's what I already kind of mentioned. When you have a list of tasks, think about which one is the best to tackle first, which one has the highest leverage, and don't be afraid to drop tasks if they don't provide the effect you expect. And this is one of the harder things. I really like doing things. I really like doing that. I really like to start initiatives and get people together to learn and be the person responsible for change. But remember that you can also delegate. You can delegate to people, ask other people to help you with initiatives. So you don't need to do everything yourself in order to be able to do, a change in your company or in the world. So remember that. So when you are thinking about what task to do, sometimes the task is just starting out something and help another one to carry on with the work and not doing yourself work. So you are free to tackle other challenges that you might have. So prioritization is really a critical skill. Always ask yourself if there's something else you can do that provides better leverage for the company and for you. So yeah, that's really the critical questions. Then, as I mentioned before, investing time in tools, processes, anything that can help you to save time, reduce time, is absolutely a must. So mastering your language, mastering your tooling, mastering your Visual Studio, your IDE, maximizing basically the release process. So if every time you want to release your software, it takes 30 minutes. Think about how much time the team is wasting. So try to minimize the release to like 5 minutes, and then 1 minute. Have a single script that you can run and automatically release. So think about when you need to do some manual task, and if you do it again and again, start thinking, okay, well, I've done this task quite a while now. How much time I spent? And then think about if it's worth automating. Automating is always a very good idea if it can save you time over time. So that's absolutely critical skills, but not just automating things, but also learning new skills to be more productive. That's absolutely critical. Then, in terms of product, is instrumenting, having instrumentation, the ability to know if particular features are used in the product or not, how people are using your product is incredibly useful for you to understand what's the best next feature that you can add in order to provide the biggest impact to the market. And that's also a very, very critical component of an effective engineer, because there's nothing worse than spending weeks developing features and don't see the effect of your changes in the world. So organizing for feedback is really absolutely critical. So in other words, understanding what the customer wants is really critical.
I need a snack.
Yes, my wife is here, as you can see, so I'm alive. And that's happened when you're alive. She obviously thought that, fast. So the other cool things to do is estimation. All right, cool. I can say that this is cool because I don't really like estimating. But how can you prioritize tasks and understand if a task you're doing is effectively high leverage if you don't know how long it's going to take? Because time is a component of the formula to know if an activity you are doing is high leverage. So if you don't know how long it's going to take, there is no way for you to prioritize. So learning how to estimate is definitely a critical skill. And honestly, it's very difficult to do, and most of the time you can only guess. However, if you take a task and you split the task in smaller tasks, you usually have a better chance to get a better estimate. And you can even involve your team in order to do the estimate instead of just being yourself. Because there's nothing wrong in doing an estimate that is only specific to you. The estimate should be how much time anyone in the team will need in order to be able to do this particular piece of work. Because remember, it's not always you that need to do the work. Then there is testing. We all know that testing is critical. Automated testing, writing unit tests, integration tests. There's no even need to say, but a lot of people still don't do unit testing or testing in general. So automating your testing is actually another critical high-leverage activity. And the other things is making mistakes visible. A few years ago, I've worked in a product and there was some exceptions that was swallowed, and it took hours of work, probably 3 or 4 days, to be able to understand what the code was actually doing. So one of the key things is to always fail fast and don't hide exceptions, don't hide errors, and actually try to show the users a nice UI when something that happened. But it's better to fail in front of the user instead of hiding the error and seeing the error maybe weeks afterward that when it happens. So that's another important thing to do. It's very hard to do because as developers we've been told that we should be defensive, we should try to think about all the edge cases and try to do something to prevent the situation. But sometimes it's better to just throw the exception and let the error propagate, because if your code gets in a very bad state, there's not much you can do. Then it's better to show the error so that you can immediately react quickly and fix the product. So absolutely critical thing as well. So yeah, I don't want to actually tell too much. I really invite you to go and grab this book and read it, because it really contains tons of value. It's really good to think about and reflect on how much more productive you can be, because the more experienced you become, the more easy it is to believe you are good enough, that you don't need to improve, and you reduce your learning, you increase your confidence, you make more mistakes, so you're not as effective as you could be. Remember, we can always improve, there's always way to learn, there's always new technology, so it's probably one of the reasons why also we're in this field, because it's good, it's fun, and there's always other things to learn. So that's pretty much what I wanted to share tonight. I want to see how live video can be effective, how if people are interested to see any of these videos. So if you like the video, just write down in other comments below, give a like to the video, and let me know what you think. This is the first time I'm doing it. I usually tend to learn a lot of things, so I really love sharing knowledge with you. And if you are interested in to stay up to date with C# and .NET, you want to receive weekly updates, new videos, and get access to 150 and plus videos, very practical, quick, that allows you to become more productive in C#. Go to productcsharp.com/membership and have a look at the offer there. It's the lowest price I ever had. You can join for a full year, try and see if you like it, and join a community of C# developers and help yourself to become even better, so even more effective engineer. And make sure you grab a copy of the book, because it's absolutely great. And stay safe. Thank you very much for watching.